On the same note, messing with the team dynamic later in the series, and, well, they said it was going to be Ajax's last game, but Funny Astro was in.
Well, you know, Funny Astro isn't. Maybe they'll be splitting some playtime as we see them moving out here on Sanctum here for Nepal. First map of the series. Atlanta running this Orisa comp ZP, so with Saucy on the Hanzo, so we're going to really rely on a lot more spam.
They are, and I mean, one thing for NRG heading in, obviously with Astro in, you know, watch the ledges, don't get booped off into side. NRG, instead, they're just going to dive directly in, not really intimidated by the Orisa setup even a little bit, but they eat a lot of damage on the move end, and they lose Brigitte as a result. Atlanta just backs up and punishes them.
And you see that they're still trying to engage here. Stand 1 going to be cleaned up, Smex out of mech. So Atlanta weathering the storm, their cooldown usage, I mean, they just couldn't really cash anything for NRG. When you set up that dive with the Winston D.Va, if the shield is not removed, and if you have not gotten those early cooldowns like the armor pack out from Sugar Free, then your dive is unlikely to find a lot of success. I mean, you're coming up against the front line of a very healthy front line with Gator and Hawk, and so the weakest part of Atlanta is Saucy and, you know, Bird on the support the Hanzo.
I mean, the only upside really I can take from that for NRG at a minimum is that Kevster still got quite a bit towards Grav. I mean, he's one of the Zaryas around that will build Grav particularly quickly. And NRG, I think they're going to play around this, perhaps be a little bit slower, wait to build up Grav, but no, they just decide to go straight in, and Stand 1 goes straight down. Astro sends him into the pit.
And with Stand 1 gone, there's no bubble, there's no cleave damage, so a missing front line here for NRG. And Stand 1 commits on the pillars. You saw him push that flank side as Atlanta, they're chasing, trying to get these frags. Might be able to catch Byram very late, they will. And really the crux of that fight is Stand 1 commits on the pillar side, gets that tase, gets the bubble to commit, and he uses jump. So Funny Astro just sees that and boops him off, and there's no counterplay really when you have no jump.
We're used to Winston's going in with a little bit more nuance than what we're seeing from Stand 1, where it just felt very brute force, and, you know, when you try and do that as a Winston, usually it ends up pretty badly. You end up feeding.
And now look at Atlanta's ult bank here as well as Evie. They have 5 ults available. The rally was used for Sugar Free.
Again, Stand 1, not a lot of nuance, dives in, but this time he has Primal Reserve, but gets blown up! Hawk off the self-destruct, gets Stand 1 before he can build Primal. He thought he was going to get it in the middle of the fight, and Atlanta right now, they're not just in control, they're dominating.
But they did use a lot of ults. Atlanta committed a lot of ults for that fight. The defensive D.Va bomb from Hawk, along with the bongo for Gator, and the beat for Astro, means there's no beat up for Kevster's grab. Smex is close to that D.Va bomb as well. The double support ult, so the triple support ult will be up soon for NRG. This is their time to own the point and look for an engage.
Well, Byram's down immediately. Bird just picks him off as NRG moves in, so they're going to be down a player and also down the Transcendence. Byram had that in reserve. Stand 1 under heavy fire, has to Primal, does it just in time as Smex, the hero for NRG over and over again, gets a self-destruct when NRG needs it most, and it's not saving the game per se for NRG, but is giving them a shot.
I mean, that might have been Smex's bomb, but that was Pooks' boop that actually set up there. They was able to remove them from Gator's shield and catch them in a position where Smex could get those cleanup frags. So now NRG have made the swap. They have the point control, but they have a lot of time bank to make up for. They do have that double support ult though, but they would like to not use it.
So, I mean, the other upside here as well is that Stand 1 on the Winston. This is a better spot for Winston on the defense. I mean, he stuck to it offense or defense regardless, but, you know, it's a better spot where you can get early damage and just leap out.
You see NRG, they're controlling the doors. There's the early rally for Sugar Free, and I imagine Kevster's going to grab. That grab is out now.
They're going to be forced out here. Kevster getting one. Both Winstons out of the fight here on all sides. NRG, though, getting more off this in the beginning, but Bird making it even. This is something that Atlanta could still potentially punch on through. We're taking a look at Bird now in the back, well protected, and Atlanta continually pressuring, and NRG starting to break.
You see Smex solo, Pooks on the point, gonna have to back up. Smex able to get out, and Atlanta have moved towards the point. They managed to get to this choke, but Kevster still incredibly high energy coming up towards another grab.
Kevster has been doing a lot for NRG here, not only giving them the early pickoff, but as you say, about to be getting grab. And Atlanta, they're super low right now. Bird doesn't want to have to use Transcend to save himself in this situation. They're just going to back out. But they give position back to NRG. And Graviton's going to be up for Kevster. And now NRG, they're one fight away from pulling this back entirely.
With the trance being forced, this is last fight territory for Atlanta, and they don't have a Transcendence. It's going to be entirely reliant on Funny Astro getting a great beat, and Saucy maybe getting that peel grab, you know, denying the cleanup for NRG onto Kevster. And that fight lasted so long, that entry fight, that we are on last fight.
Gator again move in, looking for the primal, desperately hoping to knock someone into the pit here, but ends up getting thrown away to a degree instead. Atlanta, they're able to get the DMAC and the kill on to D.Va early on here, so working with man advantage. Graviton in from NRG. They don't get much for us. Astro strikes, gets stand one into the pit. And then Atlanta now working with a big advantage. Astro not done yet, gets one more, adding on to it, and Atlanta might be able to reflip.
Atlanta, they control the point. The rally's ending. Hawk has bomb. NRG, no ults available for them. And that will be the first fight. And it actually wasn't Astro getting the boop into the pit. He just kills stand one before Byram's trance comes out. He just kills him on point. Which is even worse, objectively, than dying to the pit. Because you have something to save him. And he just dies on point.
So Atlanta able to fight their way back there. However, that being said, bear in mind, Atlanta was pretty far up. It took them a while to claw their way back in, although I do think a lot of that just had to do with the fact that NRG had some pretty bright spots there, notably Kevster, where we've talked about it in the past, but Kevster builds up charge very quickly on Zarya, is putting out more damage than what you expect from the average Zarya, and along with off-tank play from Smex, it's really been the 2 points that have been doing work for NRG here.
And I would definitely agree with that. Stand 1 has generally been relatively consistent, but was low impact in that particular fight for Sanctum. As you see, the team's rolling out here. Is it going to be Atlanta actually moving towards the point first, owning the point in this mirror matchup with the Ryan v Ryan 3-3.
Just put a little bit more pressure on the NRG to move in, and move in they will. They're looking for the isolation on the Sugar Free. Sugar Free just able to back out a bit. Atlanta's still in control of the point, in the sense that they're more like a cap, and it goes in. Mirror on the ground, went for the bash, ends up getting hit while he's going for it, knocked down. Gator gets a pick off, Hawk on the cleanup to the other side, and Atlanta, they've done enough not only to win the first fight, but also get control.
And that's just really bubble usage. When we look at bubble usage there, Sugar Free gets the counter pin onto Mirror. The Brigida's charging into each other, and Atlanta are controlling the corner to where they can clean up Mirror, use their bubble and cooldowns much more effectively to get that frag, even though Gator does almost go down. So just that first fight, that first frag for Atlanta, allowing them to get the cap. NRG now needing to move in and flip it.
NRG again be going in here from the left side, eating a good amount of poke damage on the way in. Byram, though, built up Transcendence pretty quickly here, even with Bird. And NRG under pressure. Stand one, drops a hammer, 3 down immediately from that. But the Graviton from Atlanta is very good. It buys him a good amount of time, and Hawk off the bomb, able to mitigate what could have been a big shatter coming in from stand one.
And even with stand one getting that pin frag, it's going to be the end. You see Bird, he's sitting on the flank, getting those orbs in, getting that damage. NRG, they're down players. They need to back out if possible, because the longer they stay in this fight, Atlanta's going to look for the frags.
Yeah, well, not only that, but also it's a fight that Atlanta's been winning now. Gator, his shield's going to be broken. He's Discord orbed. He's down. NRG, they still think they can win this fight, and with that, they actually could. It was good pressure on the Gator. They force out the Graviton on the Smex, and he's going to get demeched, but NRG's in such a good spot here that it's possible Smex might be able to get back into mech.
But Saucy is able to get the frag onto Mirror, but with stand one back, with the barrier back, NRG are controlling the point. They have the frag advantage. You see Saucy going in to die. So that would be the flip for NRG. And what looked to be a good situation for Atlanta, it was just the beat coming a little too late for Funny Astro to save Gator. So now NRG owning the point. We'll have that grab up. We'll have the Transcendence.
I would say it's still like not a bad situation for Atlanta. They got plenty of time. I mean, it was a long fight, even though they ended up losing the end. So 71-22. I mean, they do have time to reflip here, even as NRG has a pretty big ult advantage at the moment.
And a lot of early poke actually going into Atlanta.
That was Kevster all the way. Remember, this is the pre-nerf Zarya, so Zarya's secondary fire does a lot of AoE damage, and Atlanta just got chunked on entry.
And also a good grab on the corner. One of the best positions to put those Gravitons is on those corner spots where you can split any potential Transcendence. Even though Atlanta doesn't commit their trance there, they know better than to use it. They have the time bank added. They got the grab out of Kevster, so might as well hold the trance for the next fight. So Atlanta going to come through this main here again, still holding on to that trance. And NRG is still in a great position on the high ground.
NRG one fight away from equalizing on progress here, and Atlanta, again, eating some pretty serious poke on the way in. They'll get the chance to heal it on up at NRG. For now, staying on the point, Stand 1 going to be looking for the shadow on the other side. Shield pressure, very important between the two teams right now. Gator moving forward, Stand 1 getting pushed back a bit. Transcendence going to be forced out here. Byram, mid-Transcendence. Graviton out for both sides. Very going to be invested as NRG throws the bomb right into the middle, and Smex gets it. Ends up taking down Hawk. it's a man advantage, and now NRG, they get to just flow back over into Atlanta.
And that's just the value of those bunny hopping support ults, of using your ult staggered. NRG just got much more value there because they could use their ults later, and they had that greater shield pressure onto Gator. And this is last fight for Atlanta. They need to touch the point. I don't even know if they're going to be able to. Funny Astro able to survive for now.
They're not going to be able to get back at full 6, and I feel like Hawk came in here a little bit preemptively. I mean, he could have waited a little bit longer, ends up eating most of his health just to get overtime started, but again, now Atlanta, they're going to have to somehow fight this back. Down men, down an optimal comp. Saucy's going to fall, and NRG, if they play this right, this should be pretty easy cleanup. You know, you do have Sugar Free heading over here, the Tracer, where more volatile hero, where crazy things can happen, but not when you're stuck in Grav. Grav's going to come out from Kevster, making things easy for NRG, and really good comeback here from NRG, forcing a round 3.
NRG just getting that important flip fight as we actually go to a pause.
Maybe not. I mean, you would think, right? But sometimes visas and otherwise take time. And really, in terms of netcode for Overwatch, you can make it work where maybe the entire thing where they say, okay, this is going to be Ajax's last match. Maybe we're looking at a dynamic where the current server is on East, and that's why Astro is in. And if NRG decides to go, you know what, we want to go West for the next map, that's where you'd have Ajax go in because Astro's ping would be so high that it wouldn't really be doable for him at that point.
Well, I mean, it is tied up here at 1-1, correct? So don't they? You can't make the subs in the middle of the match.
No,
right?
not in the middle of the match. I just mean like as we look towards the next map. So that wouldn't really explain the entire aspect of this being Ajax's last match, as noted on Twitter. But you know, the mystery deepens.
The mystery does deepen. You know what? Also, the mystery deepens. The mystery deepens of when this tornado is going to hit me, ZP, or hit us, I guess. You know, when do I get the baseball-sized hail?
Well, you know, you have baseball-sized hail and the tornado, and you'd think there's a synergistic effect there where the tornado is actually flinging the hail at high speeds, not just from above, but, you know, almost like horizontally through your window.
It's great to have a half-moon window here in the room, so it's just the perfect entry point for the baseball-sized hail that is apparently going to be slingshotted at me by the tornado like some sort of avatar of Mother Nature.
Well, I look back at me, there's an entire, like, screen door, so, I mean, at the very least for you, you have a good amount of, you know, building structure protecting you. For me, you know, I don't think there's a whole lot to be said. If there's a tornado slinging hail at me, I'm just doomed.
So we've come into a competition now of whose domicile is less structurally sound, huh? Who would hold up worse? I mean,
is it better or worse? I feel like it's better to be on the ground floor or you know, something closer to the ground here. I'm on the 3rd floor right now. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm on the ground floor myself, but I think for what, you know, when we refocus back on the match, though, most importantly here, is that NRG, they had a rough sanctum. They weren't able to deal with the Orisa comp extremely well with the spam comp on Saucy on that Hanzo. Their engages weren't extremely strong. Generally, when you run into comps like that, you spam a bit to remove a shield, get cooldowns, and then you look for the engage once you get closer. NRG was just diving. They were just taking that first early engage before they removed cooldowns, before they removed shield health from Gator, and they were punished for it. But once we get to that second stage right there, that second round, their ownership of the point after they win a crucial fight, you know, they didn't win the first, but they did win the next and owned it from there. Their ult usage, I think they're a much more consistent team on a standard 3-3 matchup. We've seen them pretty much exclusively run Ryan 3-3 throughout the season. They feel very confident on it, and you can see there it was reflected that they just had a little bit better ult usage overall.
Well, a key difference there, too, you mentioned that they're more comfortable on the 3-3 with the Ryan. I mean, I'd also argue, even though Stan One has had decent Winston moments earlier in the season, he looked a lot better on Reinhardt and a lot more comfortable playing Ryan here on this particular round than I thought he looked on Winston, where, you know, I think the adding to his aggravation was probably the Orisa comp that was being run on the opposite side, where I don't think NRG had a great understanding of how to run Winston into that, or, you know, if they did have a good understanding, it clearly, like, what wasn't executed super well, whereas on the last round, they were able to play something that was more their norm, I would say.
We are going to be getting here into the final round of Nepal. It is tied up 1-1 in terms of round score here, so this obviously will be determining the map. Atlanta looking like they might be potentially rolling out on this triple DPS comp. And they are.
And yeah, this is for real. They're going to be heading out on this, and that means we're going to be seeing Astro on the Mercy, Bird on the Ana. So Interesting setup coming out here. NRG, meanwhile, going to look at this and go, well, I guess we're running 3-3. We'll just stay on the point. But Sugar Free is a dangerous Pharah to ignore.
I mean, they're going to going back and I think swapping stand 1 to the Winston for sure. I don't know what other changes they might be happening. We'll probably see Byram Ana or Moira. Okay, or Moira. I guess Moira is also another likely one. And Mirror and Kevster actually making the swaps too onto Sombra and Tracer respectively. And Kevster, well-known Tracer player. Very, very good Tracer player.
Sugar Free up here on top on the Pharah. And Atlanta going to be getting first control here. NRG looking for a way back in. Obviously thrown back a bit by having to go for full swaps. And Atlanta, we'll see what Sugar Free prioritizes here, as already they're going to get the Moira kill. A combination effort between Saucy and Sugar Free. And, you know, for Atlanta, it's all about control right now.
Look at this damage Sugar Free is doing. Is Smex even looking at him? Smex hasn't looked at him yet. I mean, I guess the fight was already over as soon as Byram is down. He's isolated on point. I don't know if they had managed to force that shift early because it seems like he just wasn't able to get away. Your Moira, part of the reason you run Moira, ZP, is that it's a lot harder to punish the Moira and to catch the Moira due to that shift, due to that extra, you know, ability to keep yourself, the self-peel. And Byram's the first to go down.
So, Atlanta already with a very significant advantage here. It doesn't really feel like it because we've only had one fight, but they're at 50% right now. NRG, this upcoming fight is something that they really do have to win. Otherwise, they're going to be in the rough situation where basically one more lost fight is the end of the map in full. And right now, take a look at Kevster. Going around here on Tracer, Pulse Bomb, up and ready. Focus Fire going in the Gator. One good thing about Tracer, you can chase down the Hammond. But while this is going on, Saucy Pulse Bomb's Mirror on the other side. There won't be an EMP.
That is an incredibly huge Pulse Bomb right there. I mean, NRG, they're going to have to lose the fight. Not only were they down 1, but the EMP was one of their win conditions. Probably their most important win condition of that fight. And now we've got into, realistically, last fight territory, ZP. And Atlanta, their ult economy is still extremely good. They have Barrage, they have EMP, they're going to have Mines too. Gator there to engage. As Byram gets sniped by Sugar Free.
That is what we call a solid unlucky or a really good shot. Take your pick. Usually it's a little bit of both. But Atlanta now, they have an EMP in reserve. Everything is in their favor. Mirror's going to fall. But Hawk falls as well. Hawk has the EMP up. Not going to get a chance to use it until he gets back into the fight. So NRG, a slight opportunity here made by Kevster. The problem is Sugar Free still in the air. Still has the barrage ready to go. Saucy takes down his counterpart. Here comes Sugar Free. This is about where he's going to drop the barrage. Looking for Poops. Going to get him. And Atlanta doing what they need to do here. And Hawk doesn't even need to use the EMP in the end. It's Atlanta taking down Nepal 2-1.
And that was extremely decisive triple DPS performance there from Atlanta. I mean, Hawk didn't even... Did Hawk even use EMP?
No,
Did that even
that's what I'm saying. No, he didn't. He did.
No
because he died
EMP
early.
was even used there.
Yeah, he died early and the fight was over by the time he got back. And he didn't even hit Q at the very end.
So there was no EMP even used there for Atlanta. And the EMP from Mirror was a solo EMP onto Gator, who they're able to just keep alive and sustain on the point. He drops the mines. And that entire time, we just see that Sugar Free is getting so much value on Pharah. When we look at those matchups, when we look at the two, Sugar Free just seemed completely uncontested. He wasn't getting hunted by Smex, even by Mirror, hard enough, because Sombra is actually a relatively decent counter against the Pharah due to your ability to hack, and you're still a hit scan hero. It's not the best by any means, but Sugar Free was just getting too much value, and he should not be able to get the snipes onto Byram.
And anything that he was getting good damage on, Saucy was there to follow through on. I mean, it was a very good 1-2 combo. And then also the entire thing NRG was dealing with is that NRG passed the big team fight that they lost where it was at 50%, and then they just started getting staggered, where people just got picked off, whether it be from Saucy, whether it be from Sugar Free. So, you know, I kind of look at that entire round, and I feel like NRG only got one fight. And then the rest was a just perpetual cycle of getting staggered, you know, running in down numbers. And I think what you have to take away from that here is that NRG looks very shaky in any situation that's not a straight-up 3-3 versus 3-3 battle. And going into the next map here where Atlanta has seemingly been comfortable swapping things up, I think it bodes a bit ill for NRG.
I think that is exactly the right diagnosis of that particular map, is that NRG does not seem comfortable off of the 3-3. I think also that under no circumstances generally should your Moira be the first one to die to spam.
Ooh.
It should be one of the heroes that is most resistant to spam because of your shift, because of your ability to sustain yourself with orbs and your right click. It just should not be happening, and it happened to Byron multiple times.
Well, even from the DPS perspective, when you're throwing in rockets, you're not really expecting the Moira to die. That's, from the DPS perspective, that's a situation of, wait, really? Guys, I got Moira. It shouldn't, because it shouldn't happen. I mean, the shift alone is enough to keep her out of danger, and unfortunately, it was just a really good poke from Sugar Free. Again, mix of good luck for them, bad luck for the other side, and just good solid predictions. So now we go to Blizzard World, and it's where Atlanta is coming in with a map advantage.
And Blizzard World is also a map we have seen a lot of flexibility take place. We've seen a lot of Sombra play in particular. I wouldn't be surprised to see Atlanta on the Sombra, and I think what makes Atlanta so deadly is that they have, especially with the addition of Bird now, they have seemed pretty consistent not only on 3-3, but they have that ability to flex on a triple BS. And that's a very, very scary team.
Yeah, very much agreed. But it's going to be good old Blizzard World where we head to next. And, this is where I think we're going to get a little bit judgy here on Kevster if he plays a Sombra, because you think back to earlier this morning where, we've sacrificed our sleep schedules for the good of covering contenders in more than one region. And we saw Edison put on one of the most ridiculous Sombra performances around. And, it was really well supported by his team where he's getting EMP every fight. Now I wonder, can NRG live up to that standard?
I think that is going to be a tough standard to live up to, because not only was the individual performance of Edison, but just the incredibly inventive way that GC Prasad Wave played around him. So I would love to see it here for NRG as well, as we see NRG look to move forward, enter the point here. Kevster playing close with them, poking for that EMP damage. Atlanta obviously on the 3-3, no Sombra for them.
Atlanta just hanging back for now. Kevster looking to build EMP, where again, the key setup here for NRG is that they're looking for Kevster to build EMP as quick as possible. It's unlikely they're going to be able to take the fight before then, unless Kevster is somehow able to land a really good hack. We're about 45 seconds in. Kevster's at 50%. It's not the fastest EMP build, but it's also all right, especially with what we've seen NRG do in the past.
By no means the slowest either, though. Something to note is that Bird is already 76% over that now to that Transcendence. And he has it in time for the EMP. Well, it doesn't even matter if Specs gets run over.
Yeah, and Atlanta, they do what you do against Sombra. Where you know the Sombra is in a good position, what do? You dive against the rest of the team. It's a 6-on-5. It's one of the best win conditions you can get. And now we're about a minute 15 in. Kevster will have EMP for the next fight, but Atlanta, they've built up quite a bit of power to deal with it. Though they're not running what it's been a classical anti-Sombra setup that we've seen, especially in Korea, which has been, running the Ana, and we've also seen an OWL as well. So they are a little bit more vulnerable to an EMP.
Now the question is Kevster able to catch anyone early with this EMP, or does Atlanta look for the engage first? There's the EMP, doesn't get Bird.
Gets the EMP, and Bird gets in just in time with the Transcendence. Going to keep Atlanta pretty healthy through the rest of this. Gator dropping the Shatter in return. 2 on the ground, and Atlanta off the Shatter. Going to be taking the fight. The EMP, not the victory that NRG was looking for, although, to Kevster's credit, he did get about 40% even in a losing fight, which bodes well for getting another EMP by maybe about minute 15 or so, if NRG is lucky.
And you see there, I mean, that's the Rhine game battle between Stand 1 and Gator. They forced the EMP, they forced the Transcendence for Bird with the EMP. They grab afterwards. It would have been possible to clean up through Funny Astro's beat, but Stand 1, he drops that shield, gets shattered. NRG unable to clean up that grab.
Stand 1 has the Earth Shatter ready here for NRG. Atlanta just holding on back. Stand 1 definitely looking more aggressive as he moves in. Meanwhile, Hawk, self-destruct up to the sky. Barrier from NRG, going to keep them safe as that moves down. Bird already out of the fight. Hawk under quite a bit of pressure here. The rally is out for Atlanta, so they can back out a little bit. They might be able to engage, but it's not going to happen. NRG just going to chase it down. And, I think most importantly for NRG, not only do they take the fight, but Kevster doesn't have to use EMP here.
Does not. I also don't even think Mirror's grab was necessary. It definitely ensured the cleanup. It made it much faster, but I really don't think the grab was necessary. As Kevster, he's holding aggressively. He catches Bird on the spawn.
Yeah, and all right, for Kevster, not too bad.
That's a really, really good stagger, because Bird now got to come back to the fight. Atlanta, while that's happening, while they're waiting for Bird, they're not on high ground. And you see NRG, they're already prepared to take the fight onto the high ground. They have 2 people on cart, going to be moving through very soon. They're waiting for this EMP. And obviously, if Bird is watching, he's aware. I'm sure he is. He needs to not be caught by this.
Atlanta, though, they're really grouped up. Well, okay, good reaction from Bird, but he still can't get to Gator in time And unfortunately for Atlanta, NRG's focus fire just way too good in the moment. And now they're going to have to try and fight this back down to Reinhardt, which frankly isn't going to happen. NRG's way too healthy for that to be the case. So, you know, I commend Bird for the quick reactions, but still not enough.
Still not enough there. The focus fire for NRG off the EMP from Sound. Mirror has another grab, though there aren't any support ults currently up for NRG because Byram does use that trance. So Atlanta will have the combo up soon. They'll have grab. There's no support ults besides the rally for NRG. Saucy going to be looking for this grab. They should know they can look for it extremely aggressively. Just try to win the grab duel.
Yep. We got Funny Astro in the back barrier ready. Atlanta, if they're going to hold a fight, now would be the time. They're pretty charged up. They don't have to worry about the EMP in all likelihood unless this goes for an extended period of time. Mirror going off on a long flank. Meanwhile, the main engage is happening onto his team here. He's still able to get projected barrier out, but man, that was practically a 6-on-5 to start with because NRG, while they're setting up for the next fight, Atlanta just dives right at him.
I definitely don't agree with the grab usage from Mirror there. The fight there, everyone was caught. They were getting cleaned up, and he drops the grab. I think the one thing there is, if I can look into, maybe if I'm looking into the mindset there, is that Mirror was hoping to force the support ult, which he does. Funny Astro drops beat. There is no beat now for Kepster's EMP. Bird still doesn't have the Transcendence. So if NRG move on time, they move fast, they can set up an EMP Shatter, which has been a consistently strong ult. But I look at Atlanta's positioning, and I feel like they're going to want to look to engage potentially with a bomb, use it defensively. Just don't get this EMP, let this EMP get value.
Well, Kevster is heading to the back, and Bird not even gonna have the Transcendence turn. Oh, right to the back, looking for Bird. Takes him down for free while still getting EMP value on the other side. This is gonna be really tough for Atlanta, and not something they can really fight back from. You can't let the Sombra both get your main tank and the Zen at the same time with the EMP. It's just something, you have to have it a crazy counter engage to actually live.
I mean, Sugar Free's rally going to be ending here on the point. Atlanta's spawns are going to be able to come back, but all these frags are being cleaned up. Smex investing the rally here as well. They should be able to catch Sugar Free. Bird is able to get Smex, but it's done. The fight's over. Atlanta having to run away. Kevster has been fighting. No, we were getting ready to criticize him. I wouldn't say it's perfect play of Sombra by any means, but he's been doing a very good job.
No, I think Kevster has been great here, especially where, you know, NRG isn't necessarily giving Kevster the support that we see in KR for what they do for their Sombras there. And I think part of it is that you think about how Kevster is a player that builds things like Gravitons up really quickly on Zarya. His mechanical skill and just landing more damage than Norm is very apparent.
So Atlanta, they don't have the combo because Hawk did use that bomb, tried to use defensively as Saucy. Snipes that grab.
Graviton out of there. And now you're going to see Transcendence come out here from Atlanta as they look to move forward, make the most of this engage. But Kevster going to drop the EMP in response. The rest of NRG moving in. And it's easy cleanup again where Kevster just continually setting the course of battle for this. And Atlanta just has not dealt with EMPs well at all.
I think something to note here as well is not only Atlanta, they were getting baited by the grabs from Mirror to use that Transcendence to set up Kevster for the post-fight for the EMP, but Mirror is at 64% to another grab.
Yeah.
Mirror has been building grabs insanely fast from this setup.
I think Mirror in for Ezire was a pretty big upgrade for NRG, where, you know, I think Mirror was a player that, you know, easy to underrate, but also very solid mechanical skill. Atlanta now, back on the payload. Bird finding the Lucio pickoff on the Pooks, the bio nade from downtown, and, you know, I like Bird going on Tiana. I actually just wish they were on the Ana earlier. And look at the counter shatter in from Gator. He's stuck in grab, says, you know what, I'm just gonna shatter. You can't rush in on this, and truth be told, I don't think NRG need to throw the grab there. They still have 30 seconds.
Well, I think once again the point is of the grab is they remove the beat from Astro. You use the grab to remove ults to set up your next fight with Kevster, to set up the EMP fight in a much better situation. Especially when you look at NRG, who are going to be coming up on beat. They will have the Transcendence as well. Removing a support ult is very strong.
It might not be an EMP fight. They're down to the final 10 seconds. The Graviton bomb setup already in. Kevster nowhere close to the EMP. But the bomb not going to do the damage that Atlanta might have hoped they did. NRG, they beat in response. Now, they've triggered overtime. Kevster building up EMP. Gator able to take down one. So NRG, they still need the EMP to bring this back. Down in numbers, they're down two. The EMP set up, but Kevster, you only have 3 teammates left. It's not going to be enough. And Atlanta going to be stopping the payload right before the end here.
And you know, Mirror, they use that grab pre-fight to remove the ults, but the real problem there is what we talked about, is what we saw, is the preemptive grab from Saucy along with the combo. denies NRG the chance to effectively engage on cart, and Byram actually has to use the remainder of his trance post-grab to touch cart. Yeah. They send Byram to cart, and Byram then gets cleaned up because of it, because he's stuck behind enemy lines. So NRG, I like their usage of using the grab to remove ults, but obviously if you're going to have to touch cart, and that's an extremely important part of your engagement there.
Yeah, I mean, evaluating the entire setup here between the two teams is interesting, because I do think, you know, it's two halves to me in what we saw there. I think that Kevster was playing remarkably well in Sombra, and Atlanta was playing really well for any moments that did not involve adapting to a Sombra, given that they didn't swap to an Ana composition. But I do feel like Atlanta is behind a bit here in adapting to Sombra setups, where Sombra Goats, it's not a surprise anymore, right? Plenty of teams have been running it across multiple regions and levels of play of Overwatch. And there's ways you can play around EMP to not let every EMP fight be a good one. Is EMP something where the Sombra team is naturally advantaged in basically any situation? Sure, but it should be something around the lines of a 60-40, 70-30, not the near 90-10 that it was coming in here from NRG. So I do think Atlanta could improve quite a bit in how to play around EMP coming in from another team.
You see here Atlanta, I imagine they won't be rolling out on quad DPS. It's not impossible, but yeah, Bird making the swap on Ana, so it's just going to be a triple DPS Saucy on the Widow. I guess Bird also makes the swap onto the Zen here. And they're going to be playing for this pit, for the spam war. They sort of have a double-edged sword here with this triple DPS comp on first DP, is that Saucy and Sugarfree are both going to be looking for spam and picks, while Hawk is also going to be simultaneously building that EMP.
Well, I think what Atlanta is hoping for here is that they're able to get one early pick off, and then ideally Hawk doesn't have to use EMP to get first, and they can just transition into Sombra Goats after, as opposed to having to use the EMP here, because after Atlanta takes first, it's going to be a full swap, and Sugarfree almost getting Byram in real trouble. Gator able to finish it off, and this is exactly what Atlanta wants. The DPS comp has done more than enough to make point A a clean take, and now what you're going to see is that Atlanta's almost certainly going to swap off everything except the Sombra here and go to a 3-2-1.
I imagine so. They are close to that barrage, but it looks like they're definitely going to be making the swap off. And that's just all shield pressure. All of that is shield pressure onto stand 1. Atlanta putting so much focus there on that first fight. Gonna actually be swapping off the Sombra here as well, because they see Kevster makes the swap on the Sombra. Now Kevster going back. We see the tactical hero swaps in spawn, the sort of the mind games that happen now between some teams, as they're both ended up onto the 3-3.
I don't really like Atlanta going directly back to 3-3 and just nuking their ult economy, where they could have had EMP up for this next fight. I mean, I get it.
I think it makes sense, considering they didn't have it yet, and it's so early in the fight that committing the EMP doesn't guarantee you the second cap.
No, it does. I mean, it's not the absolute worst, but I also think that if they drag this out a little bit, Hawk could have gotten EMP in the middle here. But, for Atlanta, also, they're really good at the 3-3 mirrors, so for them, I'm sure they're just figuring, let's just play our game, move forward, and they oh! What just happened there? The Gator
Mirror got hit by the right click. He got hit by spam. He got hit by spam and then got fire strike.
Yeah, but also Gator got pushed forward into him. I think there's a 1-2 combo there where there was a little bit of betrayal within NRG.
So NRG losing that fight, and the best thing for Atlanta is they didn't have to commit any ults at all, but there will be a recontest available for NRG. They will have those ults coming up. They're close to the bomb, close to the grab combo as they move back over from spawn.
NRG heading back out over. Certainly tools to work with here, stand 1. With the Shatter in reserve. Atlanta looking for a combo on their own. And you see the Diva tool off to the right-hand side. Meanwhile, here comes a grab setup from NRG. Smex looking for the bomb. Nicely placed from the side. Gonna get one there early. NRG investing fully. Beat is out, so is the Shatter. And it's gonna win them the fight, but they do drain quite a bit. But on the same note, so does Atlanta.
That was definitely a lot better for NRG to see some tactical CPR there from Mirror. Just, checking out, making sure they're still, they're okay. But a much better setup for NRG. Smex's bomb was in a better position. They had those bubbles out early from Atlanta. It's not the same value for the combo for Saucy and Hawk.
Well, it's kind of interesting the way it's set up, because you saw Smex over there contesting Hawk, but I think the actual reason he was over there was just to set up for a nicely placed bomb. But now, next fight taking place a little bit earlier here on the high ground. NRG deciding that they don't want to fully commit up there. They're going to back it up more towards the payload, make Atlanta commit a little bit more. Meanwhile, Atlanta going to be staying up here on the high ground. And Graviton up again! here from Kevster, and Kevster, very quick at building grabs, makes this really easy for NRG.
So that's going to be the fight win. The grab, even if it only catches 2, that's more than, really if it only count 1, that would have been fine, but manages to suck Sugar Free off the high ground into the grab. So NRG winning that fight, continuing to build up their ults. They will be at that grab disadvantage now. This next fight will be Atlanta's opening, since they will know that Pooks does not have the beat. They know they have the grab advantage. So it'll be their combo is what they're going to be poking for, just trying to get that combo and have it up before Pooks gets that beat.
I mean, for now, Atlanta's a little bit drained, but they're going to have a lot up so long as they can avoid anyone dying here in the early engagement. Sugar Free getting really, really low. NRG knows it. They're able to chase him down. Smex finishing it off. And as a result, man advantage now the NRG. So Atlanta, you have your ults, but you're down to Brigitte. What do you do?
I mean, they're trying to back out, but NRG's not letting them.
Wait.
All this time's happening, they're trying to go for the back cap.
Well, Stand 1 meanwhile again dropped the Shatter. They were trying to go for the back cap while this was going on. And Atlanta actually starting to turn it back around. Sugar Free back into the fight. NRG starting to fall 1 by 1. So NRG perhaps overcommitting a little bit there after they thought that they had the advantage.
Definitely overcommitting that fight, getting 2 split. Atlanta just finding a lot more value. As you see the Reinhardt sailing past each other like ships in the night. Atlanta now onto the last. They have a little over 3 minutes here to get past the, not even to, I mean, they don't even have to full cap. They just have to get a little bit further than NRG did with their push.
Yeah, I mean, they
now
have
NRG rolling out to spawn.
3 minutes left to go here, and you know, as mentioned, they don't have to worry about extra rounds. They don't even have to fully full cap. NRG, meanwhile, gonna have to play nearly flawless here. Kevster, again, very early grab committing here. Smex holding onto the bomb, but because Atlanta didn't have Transcendence and they knew it, they don't commit the bomb. It's smart by Smex, smart by NRG shot calling, and they get the fight a lot more free than Atlanta would have liked. But Atlanta on the other side, they're coming in with the war chest.
When we look at Atlanta, though, what's going to be extremely determining for this last cap is that, sure, they'll have grab ad, they'll have combo, but they realistically like to save the grab for the next fight. As you see, the rally's out. Gator, huge shatter!
Gator just walks up and gives it to him, but so does Stand 1 on the other side. The problem is that they lose 2, even with the Transcendence coming up. It's more even than Stand 1 would like after a shatter. That's if Gator has another shatter! Drops it!
He drops it, catches Stand 1. This fight is actually still very, very good for Atlanta because Bird got booped off, or not Bird, Byram, I should say, got booped off. No, it was Bird because he still has Trance. Bird got booped off. He didn't use the Transcendence in that fight. Bird, you see him coming back from spawn right now.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was set up by one good shatter on the other side, but 2 shatters in one fight in from Gator. And now they might just be able to use Transcendence to just pressure in the NRG. They know they have the advantage.
They don't even need to. They have grab combo.
Yeah, grab. These are the setup. They get plenty off the grab bomb alone. Transcendence. Actually not in time to save Gator, so might have held on to it a bit long, but I think the overall advantage here just too much for NRG to bring back. Atlanta looking real good here. They're going to finish out Blizzard World in style. 2-1, or 2-0 rather, in favor of Atlanta here at the half.
And even without that double shatter from Gator, the overall fight was still so much better for Atlanta. Because Pooks makes the decision for Atlanta that Bird doesn't have to use Transcendence by moving him off the map. So there is no Transcendence for the fight. They still have it. The post-fight means that they're still building more ults. They never used the bomb. It was overall just a lot better for Atlanta. They got more value. They forced the ults from Byram as well. They forced that Transcendence. They forced the shatter off the shatter from Gator. So when we look back at the fight and how it broke down, I think the most important thing about it is Gator's shatter. Gator's shatter was huge and opened it up.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that because he got the shatter down first, even though Stand 1 had a pretty good shatter in return, just too much damage was done in that fight. And I mean, you want to talk about fall through after that. Gator builds up a second shatter mid-fight where I'm not even sure if the second shatter was needed for them to get the final cleanup, but if it's not stylish, I don't know what is. But you take a look at it, it's been Atlanta ahead of NRG here. NRG showing some impressive Sombra play, but will they be able to find a way back in after the half? We're going to find out in just a few moments.